Well, you're listening to Champ Talk with Brendan Bosky, Justice Rivera, and Renzo Guerrero. We got the big three on today. Very excited to get back after it, get Renzo back on the Zoom. You can watch us all in person, like on video on YouTube. So, yeah, we got an exciting episode today. Yeah, today we got a couple topics to lead us off. Talking about just some of the stuff that's happened over the last 2 weeks, some news and reaction from around the league. Then we're talking about teams and players who surprised from weeks 1 and 2. A lot of teams, a lot of players have been very surprising. Yep. Then we're going to get into the winners who we think are going to win week 3 and cover the spreads. Then we're going to talk some fantasy in the later parts of the episode, talking replacement pickups, trade pieces for injuries. And then we're to wrap it up, we're going to talk about guys to buy low after the first 2 weeks, guys who their value might be higher than what you'll have to give up to get them. And then just some rest of season outlook for key players who may not have came out to the hottest starts and what we think if it's really troubling or not. You know, if they're really in line for a boom or a doom. You know what I mean? Just yeah, let's just start with some news and reaction from around the league. I think some of the biggest things just come down to some of the teams that we see are 2-0 and some of the teams that we see are 0-2. Mainly, for me, the Saints being 2-0 and the Baltimore Ravens being 0-2.
I mean, yeah, the Saints are a little crazy. Never thought they would come out at a hot start like that. But with Kamara fully back and healthy and that the offensive weapons they have, they all look really well. So I think it's going to be a good team, and I think they're going to be the team to beat. For me, I'm surprised that the Bengals are 0-2 to start. I thought they were going to have a rough start, but to, go up against the Patriots and just get, crapped on, it was just such a surprise, and no one expected it, really. I mean, they played the Chiefs, which they weren't expected to win, but It was also a good game. I felt like they're not as in trouble, but they're still a little 0-2. Why are they?
I also think the Patriots look a little bit better than people are expecting defensively.
Except for last night, but,
Well, defensively, they didn't look that bad. I mean, 24 points and playing 20 minutes of offense really isn't that bad. Offensively, it's just the same struggle.
You just can't start Jacoby Brissett. I don't know why he's playing over Drake May.
Well, it's the same thing about you look at what their biggest weakness is right now, and it's really the offensive line.
Yeah.
And you don't want another Sam Darnold situation with the Jets, Zach Wilson with the Jets, or what we're seeing right now that we're going to get to is Bryce Hall with the Carolina Panthers. You just don't want another situation like that to happen.
Bryce Young.
What did I say? Bryce Hall?
Bryce Hall. Young. You said Bryce Hall. You put them together.
Bryce Hall. Oh, the TikToker?
Yeah.
Bryce Young. My bad. What you see with Bryce Young, the former number 1 overall pick, he continues to struggle with bad coaching and bad offensive line play, along with just not being able to make the throws. They threw him in too early, and that's why I like what the Patriots are doing, kind of letting him actually develop, which I feel like a lot of teams aren't doing anymore. Me and Renzo talked about this a lot in the past, but I feel like letting your young quarterbacks actually develop behind at an NFL franchise for a couple of years is really beneficial to their growth. I mean, look at what Mahomes did. He was never thought to be this guy who could be the greatest quarterback of all time, and you give him a year to actually learn under a really good coach and another quarterback instead of just throwing him to the wolves, and he was able to take advantage and
people think that Young is a bust, but I mean, you look at C.J. Stroud.
It's also year 1.
Well, that's the thing, but you look at C.J. Stroud, he's thrown into a great team with great offensive weapons, a great coach, and a great line, and he's going to succeed. And then put C.J. Stroud on Bryce Young's team, nowhere near does what he was doing.
Yeah.
I don't think Bryce Young is as good as C.J. Stroud.
No.
But I think Bryce Young would have a better outcome if he was in C.J. Stroud's situation.
Exactly. Because, the guys who go number 1 are usually going to the teams that had the worst record the year before. I mean, that's just blatantly obvious, but you got to remind people that they're going to the worst teams and expected to do a 360 and transform their whole team. So that's where it's kind of...
That's like everyone thought the Bears were going to be this great team.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a great defense, but I'm a Caleb Williams hater. I do not think he's good. I do not like him. I don't I think he is a bust. He's gonna be a bust. I don't think he's gonna be good on that team.
I think he'll be fine. He has so much talent is the thing, and he's a decently smart player. Where I really don't like what they're calling on offense because they really should be pounding the rock, and then switching it up with play action down the field, and they're just.
But if you notice, he couldn't make the throws. He had so many opportunities to make throws to wide open guys. Like the first week, he had Keenan Allen or someone downfield wide open. He just completely missed the throw. I mean, they're rookie mistakes, but there comes a time you have to make those throws.
It's stuff that if you had the first year to kind of develop at times, you wouldn't be worrying about as much.
No.
Okay. Let's kind of move into the next thing. Any other teams that really surprised you over the course of the past 2 weeks? I think it has to be the Saints.
Vikings.
Vikings too.
I mean, you take down the reigning NFC champions. I think it's a scenario with the same thing with Baker.
Yeah.
It's like you're put on a team now that has potential with good players. Sam Darnold was on the Panthers, and he was horrible.
Yeah.
And then he gets put on a good team, and now look what he can do.
Yeah. Right, Renzo? What have I been saying about Sammy D?
Dude, you like Sammy D. He balls from time to time, but like I didn't think they were gonna take down the Niners. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, the Giants were
but...
the Giants were an automatic win, but the Niners were a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, any team playing the Giants is an automatic win, but like when you go to they played them at home, but like playing the Niners in general, I mean they didn't have McCaffrey, sure, but like Jordan Mason is still a thing.
And so to do it without Jay Jettas in the second half too, and without Jordan Addison.
Yeah. I mean, they still
so.
The 49ers still have very real pieces that you can't overlook.
Yeah.
Like
Debo
nobody thought the Vikings were going to come in, and I think it shows that quarterbacks aren't dead once they fail with their first team. Like you see all these other wide receivers have resurgence in their careers, and for some reason I feel like people don't think the same can happen with quarterbacks, even though you literally just saw it with Geno Smith. You've seen it with Baker over these last 2 weeks. That's another team I want to talk about.
Yeah. I just think the Panthers alone just have to sell the organization. I just think it's horrible management. I think it's
so bad.
It's like going in there is ruining your career if you're getting drafted there. No one, I mean, the fact that you gave away how many first-round picks for Bryce Young, and you lose, like, you know what I mean?
It's starting to look like the Browns.
Yeah, and the Browns are in another situation where it's like, okay, what's going on with them? You know, Chubb's out. Deshaun Watson's got another case. They don't look that good. So. And
Baker Mayfield's carving up teams week after week, and you just remember that you had him.
That's the same thing. I think the Buccaneers are going to be a good team with Chris Godwin. They have
ever since they moved Chris Godwin back to his slot role, he's looked amazing. He's looked so much better.
But a lot of pieces, a lot of surprising teams, like you said. Like you said with the Ravens 0-2, it's just no one expected that either.
Yeah.
I mean, I get you play.
I've always thought the Ravens are overrated. I mean, I'm not a Lamar fan. I don't think Lamar is that good. I constantly think he's overrated. If he just ran the ball, he'd be pretty good, but he's basically a running back at that point. Because, I mean, you go out and watch, because I wanted to talk about this last week, but we weren't on. He missed 3 throws to lose that game. He missed Likely in the corner of the end zone. Then he missed Zay Flower. And then the Likely one, maybe, that could have been caught. But you could have put it in a better spot or not got your tight end wide receiver. He's basically a glorified wide receiver.
Yeah.
Killed 2 routes before where he's kind of tensing up or turning his back because he doesn't want to get hit again. So that's just my personal opinion.
Well,
I think they're good, but I think they're constantly overrated.
You play the Chiefs, who are the dynasty now, right? They're the best team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They're the team to beat because back-to-back Super Bowl champions, you have Patrick Mahomes and everything like that. You're not expected to beat them, okay. So bounce back week, you play the Raiders. Who do the Raiders even have anymore?
I don't actually hate, like, some of these teams. I'm like, how are these teams the ones expected to be awful? The Raiders have some guys.
But who's the quarterback? Jimmy G?
Gardner Minshew, man.
Oh.
Minshew mania.
Yeah,
he's slinging it.
He's slinging it. He can power an offense if he needs to.
I just think it's another poor coaching scenario.
I'm pretty sure he's like top 5 in like passing yards right now.
He's something like that. I don't know. Did you see the clip of Max Crosby going up to him and being like, "We need Frenzo
Oh, yeah.
State, Gardner Minshew."
I hate
I
hate
love Max Crosby. I think he's hilarious.
I hate him.
Why?
Because he just seems so cocky.
Just
and
look
it's
at
like,
him.
I mean, he's a good player though. He deserves it.
He's good, but like he's not Chris Jones. He's not like Quentin Williams. He's not like
Yeah, but
Myles
he's
Garrett.
an end. He's not a tackle. So I think
Yeah,
he's one of the
I know
best
he's not-
ends in the league right now.
Yeah, I'm sure he is, but it's just like the way he goes about it. It's just so awful. There are better players, and he wants this recognition like he's the best when he's just not.
He's a
not the
dog. I
best.
can't
I
lie.
think there's only two people better
He's
than him right
good.
now. I think it's T.J.
Who?
Watt and Nick Bosa are the only ends that are better than him in the league right now.
I
Probably,
think Max
but
better
he
than
acts
him.
like he's better than both.
No, and I think
And-
that's his personality though, and I could see why you don't like him. But I just love how he just tears it like he's just a dog. Like doesn't.
He's also
Take
just
a
a
play
weird
off.
looking dude.
Yeah, but to go to that
He's just
team,
a
they
really
still
good guy.
got Wilkins.
Yeah.
They got some decent
That was a big pickup.
defensive backs.
Christian Wilkins was huge.
Like
for them.
they have a real D line. They have a real secondary. And then on offense, they still have Devontae Adams. Brock Bowers is a beast, as we've seen.
Yep.
Mayer can play. If they could figure out who they actually want to run the ball, that would be nice. But
Yeah.
yeah. And then can we talk about the
Because
Eagles?
I have him in fantasy.
What did you
Talk
say?
We can
about-
talk about the Eagles.
Talk about Perk Cousins.
Wait. Can we go back real quick? Who do you have in fantasy?
I have Zamir White. Let's run the ball with Zamir.
Yeah, he's been awful this
Yeah, I
year.
have
That's a
him
guy I
too.
was very excited for this year. Coming
I
off
know,
how he
so
ended
was I.
last year.
Yeah, but don't they have Aaron
And-
Jones too or something? Who else did they pick up?
Dude, you gotta
Alexander
you have
Madison.
no ball
That's who it
knowledge.
was.
You have zero ball
I
knowledge,
don't.
Just.
You're right.
Aaron Jones is the starter for the Vikings. now.
That's who it was.
Go to Aaron Jones real quick. He's getting out-touched by Ty Chandler right now. That's a dynamic to look out
I
for.
think Aaron Jones is just
Dude
getting
is
old.
unk,
I
dude.
think
He's at
yeah, I
unk
think
status.
he's
That
getting
guy's
He
old.
is, he is, I know.
He's too old. But
But
back to
fantasy wise,
to what you were saying.
back to Kirk Cobain's.
Back to Perk Cousins, baby.
I love it.
But I mean, it's just crazy, you know. Like I love Saquon and former Giants fan, and I just thought it was hilarious that he dropped that game-winning pass, 4th and
yeah.
1, right in the. Someone said to me, it wasn't a great throw. I was like, yeah, it hit him in the worst spot, the hands. You know, that's the worst spot to get hit with the ball.
Yeah,
But for him to drop that and then
I love
that
it.
secondary just looks horrible. Like
They're all
C.J. Gardner
rookies.
Johnson got torched by Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney's dog.
Like, come on, really?
Yeah.
And then Slay getting pieced up by
London.
Drake London.
London's a good player though.
Yeah, but that was just he didn't even like make a break on the move. He just stood there and let it happen.
Yeah.
So
He's getting old.
I think the Eagles are. I also think Nick Sirianni is a poor coach. I do not think he's a good coach.
Yeah, the
Agree to
more
disagree,
I
but-
hear at times, the more I'm like, I don't know. Like they say they're a player ran team. I'm like, well,
But
your coach. Like apparently their coach didn't say anything after the break or after they lost.
Yeah, so like what's going on here? Like you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield, 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. You know, either you stop the clock by the end of the drop pass and you kick the field goal, or you run the ball, get the first down, and there's the game.
Or at least if you run the ball, you at least
They
get to.
they use another timeout. So now they have a timeout going into that.
Yeah, timeout. Yeah.
So
my
I
bad.
just think it was just a poor judgment. But I know he's not making the calls, but you should be there and be like, oh, no, I think we should run the ball.
Yeah. That whole game kind of. I mean, what I'm taking out of it is that Kirk Cousins is going to be fine
Yeah.
for the rest of the year.
I mean, you
And I
come
think
back-
Aaron Rodgers too. You haven't played in
yeah, it's the
a
same
year
thing.
or two of football, and just getting back into it. I think that the Falcons will be a team to watch. I don't think they're going to be as good as we all thought coming into the year, but I think they're definitely a team that could surprise later in the year.
Oh, they have a lot of pieces on defense. They have some offensive weapons.
Maybe
so-
like a wild card finish.
I say something about the Eagles real quick.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Big Eagles fan.
Dude, all right, this is totally unbiased. The defense blows. Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, Saquon dropped the pass that was quite literally like the easiest pass in the world. But outside of that, like our offense is like really good. like it was one drop pass. Might happen again a couple times, but I hope not. But if our defense was as good as our offense, uh, like we probably would have won that game by a landslide, but we didn't because our defense blows. So,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
Jalen Hurts is clutch, but our defense is like brain rot. Like they're awful. Like they just don't like do anything. It's
yeah,
like,
and it's
oh,
it's
we need to.
crazy. I think it's the fact that um, you give up your leading sacker for Bryce Huff, and Bryce Huff does nothing. You know what I mean? I think I get
Yeah,
it's a
he's
money
done.
thing, but you're a team that you're in a win now situation. I feel like for the Eagles with how much star power they have on offense, I feel like it's their need to win within the next 2 or 3 years, or that they're not going to be able to pay everyone. I feel like at some
Yeah,
point it's going to bite them. So giving him up was crazy to me because, like I said, he's a great defensive end. He was leading your team in sacks, and what did you get? One sack last game, and maybe like three QB
probably,
pressures. And it's not even
probably.
like it was like your DBs were getting burnt. It was like you just couldn't, like the QB was getting 6 seconds in the pocket. So like you said,
Yeah.
your defense is poor right now. The offense does look good. I'll give it to them. They look like a solid offense, but I mean, you have to be when you have Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley.
I still think at times they look underwhelming though. Like their play calls and that. It
Well, and
just
Yeah,
it's
I
for
think
sure.
it's coming down to, like I said, coaching.
need to grow a
I
little
think
bit.
they need to part ways with Sirianni at some point soon if this keeps going
Yeah,
on.
he's on the hot seat.
I don't. He was on the hot seat last year, and I really didn't think they were gonna bring him back because, like I said, he's a player's coach. He just sits there and like doesn't really do much. He lets the players do which you kind of don't need. You need someone who's gonna like take initiative right there. So
Yeah. Okay, two more things I want to hit on before we go to a quick little break. Some multi-million-dollar quarterbacks and Trevor Lawrence and Dak Prescott. We didn't talk about the Dak Prescott contract. Possibly one of the worst contracts I've ever seen in
No.
professional sports.
second worst. Daniel Jones has to be the worst.
No,
Daniel Jones was 140 million to
60 mil is the most absurd number I've ever heard for a guy who hasn't won anything. I mean, they just got their doors blown off by
New
the
Orleans.
Saints in
Yeah.
just embarrassing fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Came out week one like, oh my God, they're doing all this against the Browns. The Browns don't look the same, even though they did have a decent win last week. And then the other guy is Trevor Lawrence with his $55 million. I mean, that Jaguars team looks abysmal. Can't really get anything going on offense. Defensively, they kind of just are there. Like they did a decent job the last 2 weeks. They've only let up 38 points, which looks like it's near the league low. But yeah, they're just a team that I don't know. They have no wow factor to me, and Trevor Lawrence just does not look like he's worth the money right now. And I was a big Trevor Lawrence fan.
No, I think he came out hot. But I just think they like you said, underperforming. What was it, 2 years ago? They got a new coach. They looked really good, and then they just fell apart and didn't make the playoffs.
Mhm.
And then the same thing happened last year, where they start 3-0 or something,
Yeah.
and then fall apart, don't make the playoffs. Like you said, it's just underperforming.
Yeah.
I feel like they need another wide receiver one on that team. I don't think they have a
I mean,
clear
they
one.
have wide receiver. The thing is, more has been done with less, and
Yeah.
that's why it's such a concern. Like Trevor Lawrence to me isn't as good of a quarterback as Derek Carr.
No.
I mean, they have Olave, but they haven't been using Olave, and that team has more offensive weapons than the Saints right now,
Yeah.
or maybe not. But they're a similar team, and what the Saints are doing compared to what they're doing, what Clint Kubiak's doing over there, the old passing game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, is just miracle work. It looks amazing. Carr looks amazing. Kamara looks amazing.
I think now that Kamara's fully healthy and back, I think that's a huge piece on that team.
He's been healthy though.
Last year he was out for what, half the season because of something, wasn't it? Was
Not
it?
even half the year. But like the thing is even the games he did play, the first 8 weeks they looked horrendous.
Yeah.
So the new offensive coordinator just brings
Well, to get Rashid Shaheed in there and actually see him perform is no one knew who he was until he started playing well. That was the biggest waiver wire pickup of probably the year so far.
Yeah. Last team actually. The Steelers, I mean, they've proven they can just win with any quarterback and then lose in the first round of the playoffs.
What is it? One touchdown? Renzo? Something like that? 1 touchdown so far this season? And 2
What?
wins? The Steelers? I think they have
Something
one or
like that. Yeah,
one
I
or
don't
two
even think-
touchdowns.
Who has their touchdown?
I think it's like a running touchdown. I don't know, either running or passing, but it's just 1 touchdown in 2
The
games.
most boring team in the NFL.
Well, and that's like,
You just know if you're watching Steelers football, you can take a nap.
or what about like when the Commanders not scoring a single touchdown and winning the game? with
Yeah.
6 field goals.
Well, that's what happens when you play the New York Giants.
New York Giants, baby.
Anything else, Renzo? You got Justice?
Chris Boswell is a great waiver wire pickup. 'Cause he's on the Steelers and doesn't score touchdowns. So
Yeah. You're listening to 98.5 WNUW LPS, and we're gonna be back right after this song. To WNUW. We're talking money lines, spreads, bets. We're really talking who we think's gonna win the games in this upcoming week, and if we take them against the spread. It's gonna be a little fast paced, and we're just gonna keep going through them. So, Justice, you wanna lead us off here?
Yeah, first we have Eagles at the Saints.
I'm taking the Saints.
Yeah, Saints minus 2.5.
They're favored.
Yeah, of course they are.
Wow.
I mean, the Eagles just came off a loss. They're home.
I know, but there's always this, like, in the media, it's always like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It sometimes it's hard to, like, actually take the buy-in.
I think it's the Saints, and I think they cover the spread. I think 2.5 is. I think they beat them by a decent amount. Last time we did this, I think we got every team wrong, pretty much.
No.
But we were close to it. But
Yeah.
I'm
taking-
like I
yeah.
said, I think the Saints are just so hot right now. I don't think you're.
I'm taking Saints by 1,000,000.
Yeah, that's from an Eagles fan, so that makes sense. But next we have Giants Browns. Browns are minus 6.5.
Browns minus 6.5 to the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
I am taking the Cleveland football Browns.
Cleveland. I think the Browns win. I don't know if they cover though.
The cover's very that's the hard part about this one. I definitely think the Browns come out with a win. I think their defense is just too good.
Yeah.
But I might actually take the Giants to cover the spread this week because Daniel Jones just shaved his beard, and I'm looking forward to it.
What do you got, Renzo?
Valid. I'm taking Browns. Browns all day. The Giants are just awful. They might actually go 0-17 this year.
No, wait, let's talk about real quick though. The Giants play the Panthers in Germany this year.
Oh,
that's
it's
just
toilet bowl.
That's a war crime, right? That has to be.
What
Sending
week
those,
is that?
That's
What week is that?
I don't know what week it is, but sending those two teams to play each other.
I thought they wanted. I thought they were trying to grow the game in Germany.
Yeah, I know,
not turn
right?
people off of it.
That's horrible.
November 10th. November 10th they play. That's hilarious. Oh my god.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's a must-watch game. But I think the best part. What just happened?
Renzo's laughing.
Dude, it's only gonna be interceptions that game.
They're gonna see some good quality D. I think the best part. If I was to bet on any part of this game, it'd be hammering the 39.5 over/under. I'm hammering the under.
Yeah.
Like hammering. I don't think there's more than 30 points scored this game.
I don't know. Giants didn't look horrible against Commanders, but Commanders are not a good defense.
They're not that good,
They're not
yeah.
a good team in general. So.
The kickers and the punters are gonna have a field day that day.
The Giants' best player is their punter. I was at the game, the first game, and the punter looked amazing.
Yeah, he did.
Next we have Packers Titans at Titans minus 3. Titans are favored.
Titans being favored largely comes down to them being at home. Jordan Love not
Is Jordan
playing.
Love?
No,
Yeah, it's Jordan
but
Love.
I mean
And
they still won last.
They're 0, even though they're 0-2. I still think the Titans look decent. Like they don't look horrendous. Except Will Levis decision making. I mean, dude, the guy's been clipped two consistent weeks. So can we go for 3?
I do think it's gonna be the Packers though.
I would take the Packers against the spread easily 2.5. I think the Packers are gonna win this game. They actually look decent with the run heavy attack.
Josh Jacobs.
Willis didn't
Oh.
look horrible, and Jacobs was pounded on the ground. So yeah, I think the Packers are gonna win this game, especially after winning last week.
Renzo.
Yeah, to me, this isn't even a conversation. I hate the Titans. Packers, dude, I can go out there even if Jordan Love's not playing, I don't care if I'm in Tennessee. I'll go start for the Packers and I'll still beat the Titans. I hate those guys. I'm taking Packers all day.
Well,
Nick, go ahead.
we gotta we gotta phone in Will, just to
Oh yeah,
just to shit on his
gosh,
Levis take.
just
Do
idiot.
do you just
Idiot.
send him the clips after every week of Will Levis
Oh
throwing
yeah,
the worst
absolutely.
possible balls?
Dude, these are his two favorite players right now. Will Levis and Kyle Pitts. So the kid's an idiot. He doesn't even know what he's doing.
The kid
And
loves
it's
like,
the most annoying thing in the world.
oh my god, that's horrendous.
All right, so next we have
So bad.
Chicago Bears and the Colts. Colts are -1.5. I think the Colts are gonna win. I think it comes down to the Bears rely on their defense.
I don't know. This is a tough one for me. This is a very close
Well,
game. This is
my
a game
thing
I
is-
wouldn't want to bet on.
Keenan Allen's still out. Romo Dunze is questionable.
Yeah.
So, and you have Caleb Williams who's underperforming. I think the Colts need to get a win. I think it's dire situation for them right now to get a win.
Yeah.
I think 0-2 starting for them with Richardson back finally. You just signed Michael Pittman, your wide receiver one. I just think
Yeah.
they struggle
Can we-
on.
Can we talk about quick how bad Anthony Richardson is at throwing a football though?
I told everyone was so high on him.
I
with fantasy,
never
and
liked. Well, fantasy he's good. He runs the ball.
yeah,
But last week he didn't run the ball at all, and you saw that in how many points he scored in fantasy. But more importantly, how many points the team scored. I'd actually take the Bears here against the spread 1.5. I think it's a close game, comes down to the wire. But I think the Bears D scores a touchdown, and I think Caleb Williams rebounds a little. Probably has like 2 touchdowns this game. I think Caleb Williams finally gets a rebound.
so
I'm taking Colts here. Bears, they look all right. Caleb looks like he's never played football before, but I mean, they don't have. Is Keenan back yet, right?
no, he's out.
Yeah, I
and,
don't think he's gonna
Rome's
play.
still
Oh, he's still
questionable.
out.
Yeah, he's doubtful.
Yeah,
and
they're not
Rome's
winning that
questionable.
game. Colts. I know Richardson just hates Jordan Love and the fact that he just lost to him. They had a close game with the Texans. He's not gonna let some dude who paints his fingernails beat him now. So I'm taking Colts.
So next is another. This is a good game, really good game. It'll be Texans Vikings. Texans are -2. I'm gonna go with Texans here. I think the Vikings are gonna come to an end at some point. Their little Cinderella run, I'm gonna call it. I think if Jay Jettis is out, it's a for sure Texans win. But like you said, it's just a Charlie horse.
Nope.
I think. What?
I'm taking the Vikings
Oh my God! Of course you are.
against the spread. I love Sam Darnold. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
I was turned around, so I was like, sorry, keep going.
No, I think off your Sam Darnold, I do like him, but I just think the Texans are a well-rounded team. I think they're going to be a great team this year. You saw it last year. CJ Stroud now has a year under his belt and a great year at that. So I think they're just going to build off of that. And adding Stephon Diggs, everyone was on the was like little on the fence about that. I was guilty of that too because I think he's a diva. I don't think he's good for any team, but
Yeah.
he's performing.
He's really mostly like touchdown production right now.
Yeah, his problem was he was upset he wasn't wide receiver 1 at the Bills,
Oh, and
even though
Nico-
he was. And
Nico's been the guy.
and even I would put Tank Dell above him too. So
Not so far. So far, Tank Dell's really been the one to take the back seat, but Nico Collins has cemented himself as the guy in that
I didn't
offense.
know he was like 6'6" or whatever.
Yeah, he's 6'4",
huge. I didn't know
220.
he was that big.
I've been picking Nico Collins every year late in drafts until last year. That was the first year I didn't pick him, and
And then
course
he goes
that's
off.
the year he's like I've probably picked him for 3 years in a row in leagues, and then that year I was like I don't know if I could still believe in him, and he didn't really fall to me, and that's the year he went crazy. So he's one of those guys that he has true alpha like tendencies, and he's looked amazing. That play where he just threw a guy off him, I was like, Nico a dog, you know what I mean?
Well, what about you get that penalty against the Bears? You get that when he punched the guy in the face. Next play, he
Dog.
he runs someone over for a touchdown, or
Love
the one-handed sideline catch,
Yeah.
which was absurd. So, like I said, Texans. I think the Texans are going to cover. I think they're going to win. You got the Vikings.
I'm I love Sam Darnold. I think the Vikings are playing. They're going to be another year of every game's going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't the biggest fan of their coach, and I think he's done a really good job. And I think Sam Darnold actually looks really good. I don't think he's going to look like a superstar, but he's amazing. Like, he's a above average game manager.
Yeah.
And I don't know, their defense looks very steady. They're the number 1 ranked defense in fantasy right now. So
What do you got, Zoe?
For me, the Vikings, their starting quarterback and their running back are on unk status right now. Texans look
Sam
better.
Darnold's only 27.
Yeah, but he looks like he's 42. I like the Texans though. I mean, you can't really argue this offense. I think their D line is just the Houston D line is going to just dominate this Vikings offensive line. Like I said, Darnold is on unk status. He's going to get torn up by Anderson Jr. and Hunter. Their corners are great. I know Jay Jettis is there. That's like the one good thing about their team. TJ Hawkinson isn't like in existence right now, so I'm
he's
taking
still injured.
Texans.
Do you have to take the Texans because you now live in Texas? Like, is that part of the?
Oh,
Are you a Texans fan
yeah.
now?
Like no, but like I
heard he's a
like the
Dallas
Texans,
fan.
but
You're a Cowboys
He's a
fan.
Cowboys fan.
Jeez, Renzo.
I'd rather just like drop dead, but that's different.
We're gonna
story.
kick you out the pod for that.
I mean,
Um,
I don't care. You're a Giants fan.
Yeah, but to
That's
go from,
worse.
from Eagles to Cowboys, that's crazy.
Ew.
Don't touch me. All right, next we have Broncos Bucks. -6.5 is the spread. I think the Buccaneers,
I'd take him at -14.5.
I think the Buccaneers smash them.
Yeah.
The Broncos are just atrocious right now. No defense. Bo Nix is all right. I mean,
He hasn't looked great though.
No,
I thought
but
he was
I
gonna
mean,
look better. I thought
the-
he was gonna be able to slot in and kind of
he's
hit
thrown
those
into a
easy reads.
situation with you've got Javonte Williams as your RB1.
Dog. I love Javonte
Yeah, he's
Williams.
good,
Their
but-
offensive line is horrendous.
But who's his wide receiver one? Cortland Sutton.
I love Sutton too.
I think he's good, but he's not a wide receiver one.
Yeah, but like there's plenty of weapons to not be horrendous. And a lot of what they do is all playbook, like scheme based.
yeah.
And he was gonna fit perfectly into that scheme. And
Dude.
I mean, he's one of those older guys who are just hoping to slot him in right away. So he's kind of been underwhelming.
Yeah,
And
so,
I think the
Go ahead.
Bucks have looked amazing.
Yeah.
I think they're offensively they looked really good. Maybe they'll come down to earth, but Baker shows why was a number 1 overall pick, and moving Godwin back in and then letting Mike Evans really control over deep in the middle of the field, they've looked great.
when that picture of Baker practicing with the Zins in his pocket surfaced last year before the playoffs, I think that's
You were
when-
on board.
I think that's when he like
took
presumed
that
himself
step.
as like the top tier quarterback that he is now. So, what do you think, Zoe? I think we're all assuming Buccaneers here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be stupid not to take the Bucks here. I could blindfold Baker Mayfield and they're still gonna win. The Broncos only have Surtain or whatever. Like, he's cool, like he's good, but I mean, I'm a big fan of Cortland Sutton, but he just sucks. I'm a big fan of Javonte, but he sucks. It's just because they're on the Broncos.
Tell him how you really
The
feel.
Buccaneers are cool. Like they'll do, like they'll do well. Like they played well against the Detroit defense.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, dude. Baker Mayfield is also like I'm hopping on the Baker bandwagon here. That dude's got aura. I mean, I swear to God, he's just like balling out for like no reason. I don't know why or what happened, but he's just like all of a sudden like just the second coming of Tom Brady, but like better. So like it's weird. I'm taking the Bucks.
all right.
Your brain rot has gone crazy.
Yeah, what's going on?
This
What are they
segment,
doing in
man.
Texas over there? Next we have Chargers Steelers. They have Steelers favored. I don't think the Steelers win. I think it's
Dude.
gonna be the Chargers.
Steelers find a way to win. I mean, dude, you have Justin Fields, who might be the worst starting quarterback, who's gone so many games.
No, and
And
I
they
think
continue to win. So
I think the Chargers are. I think Jim Harbaugh, right? Yeah, it's Jim Harbaugh. Makes that team just so much better. I think he brings the energy that's needed there. I think he's a great coach.
Jeez, they're 2-0. I didn't
Yeah,
even realize
everyone's
that.
saying. I mean, they haven't played any great teams. They played the Panthers and I forget who else, but they pummeled the Panthers. I like Jim Harbaugh. I think he's a good coach. Everyone who says he was put in a good situation needs help because he was put on a team that did nothing last year. I think Joe Alt is going to be one of the best offensive linemen that we see in the
They
game.
played the Raiders week 1.
Yeah, it's a solid team. So, I mean, Joe Alt just demolished Max Crosby. So
To be put in a situation where you have a top 5 quarterback in the league, I mean,
it's good,
It's
but
good.
you also, look at them last year. You know what I mean? It was just
their offense was decent.
they don't have J.K. Dobbins is healthy now. Another surprise who's, he's been hurt 2 years in a row with the.
He looks good.
So I'm going to go Chargers there.
Who's it? Chargers. Yeah, I'm gonna go Pittsburgh just because I think the Steelers continue to find ways to win. I don't think the Chargers offense is gonna be able to do anything if they can't get stuff going in the air. I mean, Quentin Johnson had 2 touchdowns last week, but we'll see how it goes. I'm really not a Steelers fan at all. Actually, I really can't stand the Steelers. I think it's just which crap team am I gonna pick to go 3-0?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably Steelers. I'm gonna go Steelers. I just think their defense better. Yeah, pass this one to Renzo. I got nothing.
So here's the thing about this game for me. I mean, both these teams are like awful. The thing is, Steelers have like 2 co-MVPs here. Actually, no, three. I'll start off with TJ Watt. We all know he's like TJ Watt, so like that's self-explanatory. But this year, the 2 guys that are shining the most are Chris Boswell, their kicker, and Mike Tomlin, because Mike Tomlin is working with absolutely nothing outside of TJ Watt, and somehow they're still 2-0. Chris Boswell has not stopped kicking that freaking ball, and he hasn't missed. The dude just like hits every one. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, like they're great, but then you go against the Chargers, and like the Chargers are like good. Like, congrats, you beat the Panthers. I can go beat the Panthers, and then but they
Here
beat
you
the
go.
Raiders. Like, the Raiders are cool, I guess. Like they just beat
This
whoever
guy's
that
a
good team was.
certified hater. I swear, he's just a
Um,
certified hater.
I'm just saying, dude. Like, it is what it is. Like,
Renzo gotta
so,
get
like,
off
the
the
Chargers.
brain rot route. Like, it's bad.
Brain rot. I'm talking football. The Chargers are good, but like
Uh,
I don't know. You got Joe Alt there. I don't know if he's gonna be lined up against TJ. What's the spread?
One and a half.
plus 1.5. So it's a toss up. The money line is 105 and 125. So
That's
I think
I'm
the
gonna
over under
go-
is probably the best part to go here.
it's 35.5. So
Slam the
35 and a
under.
half.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a battle of the kickers again. So I'm just gonna go Chargers just because I like Herbert better than Justin Fields.
Is it
He's
at the end of the day, Renzo? Is it really who do you think is the better kicker between Boswell and Decker?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, when your offense just blows, like that's what it comes down to. Yeah.
All right. Next we have Dolphins Seahawks. I think there's an obvious answer here. The
Yeah, the
spread is 1.5.
Seahawks.
You don't have a quarterback right now.
And Thompson is not good.
No.
I've watched that guy. I was at a Patriots game 2 or 3 years ago, and it was when they had Skylar Thompson. Oh my God, that game was painful to watch.
I was always a believer that the Dolphins were frauds. I never thought they were good.
I didn't think they were gonna have a good year. I just think the guy they lost too many guys on the offensive line, too many guys defensively, and now losing Tua. I don't think Tua is good. I think he just isn't that good at football. He can't make more than a read, and if Mike McDaniel doesn't tell him what to do, then he's screwed.
Well, and I feel bad for him.
But
Like,
I still think he's better than Thompson.
I think he needs to stop. I just think he needs to call it. He's
Probably,
already making
yeah.
money. He's got a family. There's no point in coming back here.
No.
This has happened 3 times now where you've pretty much gone unconscious and your body went into shock. So, what do you got, Renzo?
So here's the thing with the Dolphins. I hate Tua.
Same.
He sucks.
I agree. Good
He's
take.
awful. If I'm a DB and Tua's in, I'm lined up against Tyreek. Tyreek's running a go route. He's blowing by me, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to stick 6 yards behind Tyreek, and that's where the ball's going. So it doesn't matter. It's an interception every time. But now you don't even have Tua, and you have Thompson, who I don't even know who that is. I'm going to be honest. And then you're going against Tariq Woolen and Witherspoon, right? They're
Yeah.
freaking crazy. Plus you have, I mean, Kenneth Walker isn't back, is
Is
he?
he?
I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think. No, he is because I was looking at Zach Charbonnet's fantasy numbers. They said it was looking like he wasn't gonna be in. So
Well, regardless, the Dolphins' run defense is atrocious. They have Jalen Ramsey there, who's like kind of washed.
kinda.
Um,
He's on
I'm going
unk
Seahawks.
Do you think yeah, he is. Do you think the Seahawks are gonna go 3-0 at that point then?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean they. Oh, I do. I also love Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's so good.
I mean, they
And,
finally started using him.
I know. I mean, I love Lockett, but like,
They dogged on the Patriots last week. Gino, I think they really. I mean, they did nothing in the run game, but their air game looked really good. I don't know. I think they should probably beat the Dolphins by a bit. Thompson's horrible, so.
All right, so next game it was a little bit weird because we all knew it was gonna win, but the spread's only 5. It's Panthers Raiders, so we don't have to talk about this much. We already talked about how much we hate both teams.
I mean, the Panthers suck, and Minshew Mania, he's the GOAT. So
yeah, it's obvious that the Raiders win. I think a -5.5 spread is a little absurd.
It's a little, especially at the Raiders. I don't know. They just have no belief in the Raiders. Maybe it's because the Red Rockets coming in.
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton. So they're thinking, I mean, times might turn around, hard times get better. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the Red Rocket might lead them to victory. Get the ball to Deontay Johnson a bit more. I think the Panthers could rebound a little, but I think the Raiders still come out with a win.
Yeah.
The 5-point spread, I think it might be closer than that, but I'm still taking the Raiders -5.
All right, let's hear it. Let's not hear the Max Crosby slander though. Just what you're.
all right, I'll leave Max Crosby out of this. Here's the thing. I am probably like the biggest Raiders hater ever. I love Devontae Adams. I hate the franchise.
Do you like Bowers?
Gardner Minshew. I love Brad. I like the players outside of Max Crosby, but I like the players. Like I hate the franchise. It's like if you don't want to win anything, you go to the Raiders. Like they have talent, but like it's like I mean, I know the Chiefs are there. Like congratulations, they're the AFC, like the best AFC team, like whatever. But like, and then they play the Panthers. And like I hope they get embarrassed by the Panthers. I mean, Andy Dalton is just a Walmart version of Sam Darnold, and like he's just a redhead, but he's old too. But
That's crazy.
like I desperately want to take the Panthers here, but like I just can't because like they're awful. So I'm just gonna go Raiders.
Next we have Ravens Cowboys. Toss up in Cowboys in Dallas. It's the Ravens are favored -1.
Ravens favored at the Cowboys. That's kind of surprising, but I think the Ravens rebound.
I think it's bound to happen.
Even though I can't stand Lamar,
I think
most overrated quarterback in the league, should never be a MVP 2-time.
I think he deserved his
He won the
one,
first one, yeah,
I
but
think
this last one didn't deserve it. I think the Ravens come out with a win though.
I think the Cowboys are fraudulent. I think their cornerbacks are
They
not
suck.
good. I think the cornerbacks live on interceptions
Yeah.
to be good. You saw them getting burnt by half the team, half the Saints last week. So, I think it's gonna be the Ravens. I think the Cowboys are the same old story every year. They think that it's their year, but it's never their year. So, let's hear it, Cowboys fan.
That's cute. I hate the Cowboys. I mean that just goes without saying. Every franchise hates the Cowboys. Dak is good, but like it doesn't matter when they like he's good until they play a team who knows how to play football, and all of a sudden he's just like Bryce Young out there. So like it doesn't really matter. Ravens look good outside of losing to the Raiders. I mean they played the Chiefs week 1.
Look good in the 0-2 start.
Game. Yeah, but I mean, you're at Dallas, but like that doesn't mean anything now because the Saints just literally just took a dump in the Dallas stadium. So I'm gonna go with Ravens.
Yeah, I agree.
Next we have Rams and Niners. I think it's a clear winner here.
Yeah.
I think the Niners are gonna win. The Rams are so depleted.
This is the injury game.
No,
Both teams missing a lot of people, and the Rams are basically missing their whole offense except
line,
Stafford.
They have their running backs, but they have no wide receivers.
They're actually missing their starting 2 wide receivers, 3 of their starting 5 offensive linemen and more players on the defense. I mean,
I mean,
if the 49ers don't win this game, then
Yeah,
it's
only
not
the
looking good
Niners
without
only lose to-
CMC.
Debo, CMC, but you have Mason, like you said.
Yeah, but CMC is a different type of player than Mason.
Of course.
The game planning.
I think they're missing Fred Warner, right? I think Fred Warner was out last week,
Hmm.
and then Ty Fungalo or whatever that guy, that really good safety.
He's nasty. I love
He was
Typhonga.
out last week, so I don't know if he's playing this week, but I think we can all agree 49ers. You, Renzo?
I want to say Rams really badly just because I don't like the 49ers.
You just want to be
but,
different.
No, I don't like the 49ers. They're at the Rams. I mean, yes, the Niners are the clear better team, so don't get me wrong, but that was also the case last week. And this is a divisional matchup. Maybe they'll both take this game a little more seriously because the Rams are like, it's not their fault. Kupp is injured, Puka's injured. It's not their fault that they just suck right now, but unfortunately, I'm going to take the Niners, but yeah, Niners.
All right, we're gonna bang these last ones out.
Yeah, we got yeah.
So we got Lions, Cardinals.
I'm taking Cardinals.
Yeah, I think it's a toss-up. I like the Cardinals here. I think now that they're incorporating Marv, I think it's gonna be better for them.
I think the Cardinals have looked good and the Lions haven't.
Yeah.
The Cardinals defense is still a bit of a concern, but I think people forget how good Kyler Murray really is. So Kyler, with that run game working, I'm taking the Cardinals +3.
What do you got, Renzo?
Take the Cardinals. I'll take them.
All right. Next we
Good.
got Chiefs, Falcons. I think the obvious is Chiefs here. I think the Falcons are good. I just don't think they're on the Chiefs level.
No,
At all.
I don't think, and I don't think they're ready. Like maybe end of season, I think this could be a surprise upset. But right now, with the way Kirk Cousins is slowly working back into things, I'm taking the Chiefs -3.
Yeah. Renzo?
I'm never gonna bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Plus, I want the Falcons to lose now, so I'm taking Chiefs.
Jags, Bills, -5. Buffalo to not have.
It's a big spread, but
Everyone thought that they were gonna be bad because no wide receiver one now. It's Josh Allen. James Cook looked amazing last game.
yeah.
I think this team's
They're
the
just-
same old team every
Yeah,
year.
they're just going to the pound the rock approach more
Yeah.
this year than ever. Whether that's running with Cook, Ray Davis, or with Josh Allen. So I think the same trend continues. Jaguars can't stop the run game. You see Allen get 2 touchdowns, Cook get a touchdown, and the Bills get an easy win.
And go ahead, Renzo.
Yeah, I think the Bills showcase why they made a mistake paying Trevor Lawrence $55 million a year, so I'm gonna go with the Bills.
I think a lot of teams are realizing the mistakes they made with signing their quarterbacks to these type of deals.
My team is one of them.
Awful.
Yes.
Commanders, Bengals. Big spread here, -7.5. But I think the Bengals are gonna walk all over them.
Yeah, T. Higgins back, hopefully.
I mean, you saw they played well last week. I think that defensive pass interference was rough. I think it was pass interference, but it was.
They're a fluke 0-2, and
Yeah.
they just got to get back into the groove of things. I mean, Joe Burrow missed a majority of the year last year, so you got to remember he's coming off not playing in almost a year. So yeah, I'm taking the Bengals. I think they're gonna continue to look good. This spread's kind of big, but I do think they cover.
The Commanders didn't impress me last week. They played the Giants and they couldn't score a touchdown. What's that about? Like, you know what I mean?
They're just not very good.
I don't think they're the team that everyone.
I think their play calling is a little underwhelming. Like, it should be a lot more short and easy passes for Jaden Daniels to make to get him into a groove,
I think.
and a lot of runs.
I haven't seen him sling the ball once. I think it's all of his throws have been like 5-yard checkdowns.
Yeah.
So, what do you got, Renzo?
I'm taking my guy Joe Burr. If Jamar Chase stops crying, they'll look a lot better as well.
Yeah,
Commanders, I mean, I like the Commanders. I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan, but I'm taking Bengals.
Yeah, I like Jaden Daniels in fantasy this week, but outside of that, I'm not sure.
So if we parlay everything together, $1 to win 13. So if you guys want to take that on, go ahead. But I will not be
13?
partaking in that.
Our takes,
Yeah, $1 to win
I could do
13
that.
grand.
13 grand.
Wait,
Yes. You thought I meant
Oh, that
13
makes-
bucks?
Yeah,
yeah.
No, 13 grand.
I'll do that. I'll put it on for the.
50 cents to win like 7.5.
Okay, let's put it on. We're gonna let you know how we do next week. You're listening to 98.5 WNEW LPS and with Champ Talk. We'll be right back after the break. Champ Talk, we're going to talk some replacement pickups for all your injury needs during the fantasy football season. We've had a lot of injuries this year, and, we're struggling to get through them, but we're going to try our best to help you guys get some good pickups for some of the important pieces that we've lost. Just to recap some notable injuries, you guys can fill in if you guys have any more. Tua Tagovailoa, Jordan Love at at quarterback, Nakua, Kupp, Debo, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Jordan Addison at wide receiver, and the big two are CMC and Pacheco at running back, and there's even more than that. So there's a lot of positions to fill, and we're going to give you some guys that we think you can get on your waiver wire or could have got on your waiver wire, maybe cheap in trade. That will help you relieve the pain a little bit. So to start, we're gonna give you some quarterback options. I think the clear 1 and 2 guy to go get, if they're still somehow available. They were under 50% before waivers this week, but you might still be able to get them cheap in trade. Are Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield. There hasn't been two more promising players, two more productive players in fantasy this year, and I see both their productions continuing throughout the year and being two of those guys who are going to be new to the top 12, because as we see year after year in fantasy, there's guys who aren't in the top 12 who integrate into that mix and very rarely are more than 5 people from the top 12 in it the next year after they were. So I see Carr and Mayfield both have guys who could jump into that bracket. The another two who are both guys you could I'd almost guarantee you could go out and get are Sam Darnold and Jared Goff. Both very good streamer options week to week if you have injury concerns. If you had Burrow, who's been kind of down, or any guys like that, I think Darnold and Goff could be guys you plug and play week to week and rotate.
I think
so
you can
I think they look good.
And Minshew in there as well. I mean, they're playing a Panthers team.
Yeah, I was talking about more like if you need a rest of season filler for these guys, like more. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of guys at the quarterback position where you can fill them in, and they won't have significant drop off. I like Minshew this week. I'd really
Even
like Minshew.
Going forward, I would see picking him because how he's now utilizing.
I mean, they haven't had a run game, so.
Yeah, you're utilizing Brock Bowers now. You have Devontae Adams still there, so I think there's a little bit of value in him to pick him up now. I dropped Caleb Williams the other day. I just thought it was useless having him on my bench.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where if you're in a keeper, like a deep keeper league where you're keeping a lot of guys, he might be something interesting, but if not, he's probably a drop. I think another guy to throw on top is Kirk Cousins. He's probably out there in about half the leagues. He's looked better. Same with Aaron Rodgers. Both of them will continue to improve throughout the year, so there are two more guys who could be good streamer options.
I'm going to go over to tight ends now. There's a couple tight ends I'm looking on the waiver right now. Dalton Schultz. Not a lot of people have him. I think he's a good pickup.
Yeah, because he kind of sucks.
I think he's... All right, that's messed up, dude. Come on. I think he could be good. Another guy is Zach Ertz. Showed that he still had it last week.
Yeah, I do agree with that one.
I think it was not a very good Giants defense, but like to still be able to perform and put up. I think he had he had 10 points. So to get that out of a backup tight end, it's just something you could take out of. So
I get another guy if we're on tight end real quick. There hasn't really been a lot of notable injuries to tight ends, but a lot of underwhelming play. I think another guy is not Zach Ertz, Mike Gesicki. I think he looked really good for Cincy last week, and they usually rotate between their tight ends, but
he just had a couple of drops that like kind of moved me away from him. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, but he's definitely a guy who's going to continue to be involved in that offense because that's a team who didn't get consistent production from their tight end and a guy who could go get the ball.
Yeah. Renzo?
I
I like all the guys. On. That's my bad. I forgot to turn Renzo on. Renzo, have you just been listening that whole time?
Yeah, no, I'm a good listener, so it's all right. I like Mike Gesicki. He's cool. Like they're in a good offense. T Higgins is back now, so like his targets might be like a little more limited than they already were, but
Yeah.
like it's cool. Um, I mean, like I hate. I mean, like in one of my leagues, I have Njoku who's out. In our league, I have Ingram who's out. So I am like I've kind of had it when it comes down to the tight end position. I'm thinking of just like throwing it in the trash altogether and not starting anybody.
I told you
But
I'll
I
loan
mean,
you.
there's some guys on the waivers who I'm like, I mean, like yeah, I mean, like Chigo Okonkwo, like for the Titans, like he might be cool because like Will Levis can't throw it further than like 20 yards, so like it's like it might work out, but I don't know.
Less.
They're like
Oh,
I don't really love any of like obviously these guys aren't going to drop you 20 points a game. You're lucky if you get 5 out of these guys on the waiver wires. Um, but with all the injuries going on, it's so scarce. So guys like Gasecki, guys like whoever you mentioned before, is Taysom Hill
yeah.
like he's a tight end, right?
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
So
that's
who
wild.
is that their only tight end? Because I know they have Juwan Johnson, but is
Who?
Taysom Hill the starter?
No, Foster Moreau is probably their
Okay, I was
guy.
gonna say because Juwan Johnson.
I think they label Taysom Hill as a tight end because they don't have a spot to
You
label
remember?
him
You remember
because
when
he plays everything.
it was like 2 or 3 years ago in fantasy?
When he was a tight end
He
slash
was a
quarterback.
tight end, but he was playing quarterback, and whoever had him got like 30 points as a tight end. 'Cause
Yeah,
it was
I definitely didn't do that and then get yelled at by my league mates.
yeah, I was gonna say Juwan Johnson could be a little bit of a pickup for how good of a team they are.
I think Foster Moreau is going to be the guy out of that offense that continues to produce. Maybe I'm wrong,
Yeah,
but
I mean, I
actually
just
he
think,
didn't do great last week. He had a good first week.
I think they're just
So yeah,
all out of
Jawan
place.
Johnson.
Juwan Johnson didn't have a single catch last week, or
Oh yeah,
but he had.
they
the
just
first week.
steamrolled them and
Yeah.
continue to run the ball. Transitioning to wide receiver real quick, I feel like this is a big position where we see a lot of guys going down. I mean, I know in my leagues I have Nakua, I have T. Higgins. And then if you also have like Cup, Debo, AJ Brown, you're really looking for a guy you could plug in, especially in deeper leagues where maybe you're running 3 wide receivers and a flex. Some of my top guys are Demarcus Robinson. You're going to see him become the wide receiver 1 for the Los Angeles Rams, and they like throwing. So I think Demarcus Robinson could have some 15-point plus weeks. Jawan Jennings is kind of a guy I keep seeing. I don't know if I love Jawan Jennings, but I think he'll be solid enough to plug in, especially with Debo out and their limited production from Ayuk. I think Jawan Jennings could be a guy who's interesting. Another one.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I thought you were done.
Another one. Jerry Jeudy. He's snuck in 2 pretty good weeks so far. Having 6+ targets in both games, and he's really looked like the one who's had the connection with Deshaun Watson so far. Other than never mind.
The massage.
And then quick 2 names. I think they're probably owned in most of your leagues, but Quentin Johnson and Shakir. I think both of them are going to continue to get a lot of looks, and Shakir's going to be a guy who's going to get you consistent 10 every week. Well, Johnson might be a guy who might be a little sneaky if he actually learns how to catch the ball. I know, just like Renzo, he doesn't have great hands.
Dude's got feet for hands.
I just picked up Jennings. Not Jennings. Johnson in our league. Saw him there. It's like, why not? Yeah, I'm gonna bounce off of the Rams. I think all their wide receivers now are gonna put up solid points. I think I like that Whittington guy.
The thing is, like, how does Tutu Atwell all of a sudden just not play after the beginning of the year you had last year?
Yeah, but I guess just because you have such good players now.
Yeah.
It's just another backup. Joshua Palmer, if he stays healthy, I think he could be a nice little
Yeah, he could be.
pickup. Darnell Mooney played really well against the Eagles. Ray McLeod. Just some guys you can just throw in there. If you
Ray
don't have
McLeod
anything.
is getting some real action for the he's on the Falcons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another pickup that people don't think about is Jahan Dotson. I think he's going to take some of the workload because of
AJ Brown being out. Yeah.
He didn't really produce last week, but first game really starting with the new team, I think he'll produce something. I'm not expecting him to drop 40 points, but I think you'll get a solid 10 out of him if you need a flex or something like that.
Yeah, you reminded me Greg Dortch in PPR leagues. I think he could be a really good fill-in. I think, especially this week, if you need a spot play, Greg Dortch could be the guy to go get. I think he'll have a good week against the crap. What team are they playing?
They're playing the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I think he could have a good week against the Lions. Find that the seams in the offense and really exploit. So I like Greg Dortch this week too.
You know who got a lot of was Britton Covey. Got a lot of targets for the Eagles.
Yeah, I think it's because he knows the offense. I don't think Brenton Covey's very good though.
No, but he got 6 targets and 6 catches, so there's 6 points right there.
Any names you want to throw in the pot, Renzo?
I'll just talk on these Philly guys real quick. Covey, I feel like I think he's the really fast guy. Like he's cool. He's all right. I don't really love how we throw him the ball all the time. He's not a football player. I don't know why we're feeding him. I mean, I know like why we're feeding him. It's because AJ's out. But like,
are you saying that you
AJ,
could go in and step in and play just as good as Covey?
Absolutely, because all I need to do is just freaking turn around, catch a 2-yard ball, and then just get tackled by AJ Terrell or whoever it is.
Renzo, I've seen you catch a football before though.
Yeah, you've seen me catch, bro. I dust you. Anyway, with AJ Brown out, it's like Jalen Hurts turns into like Justin Fields. So like it's not great. Jahan Dotson is really good, but for some reason we actually don't want to throw him the ball. So we only threw him the ball once for 6 yards, like which really wasn't great. But when it comes down to these waiver wire pickups, Jahan Dotson, like Justice said, Jahan Dotson should be doing better. Are we done? All right, yeah. Jahan Dotson should be better.
You talking to yourself there?
I'm talking to you guys.
We can be.
He should be good.
Okay. We'll go to running backs real quick. I have 3 names. Ty Chandler, as I said earlier. As Renzo said earlier, I'll quote the great Renzo. Aaron Jones has graduated to UNC status. So Ty Chandler's really coming in and taking more of those reps. I think Ty Chandler, if you need a guy to slot in here and there, I think he could be a guy who adds some pop to your offense. I think I'm not sure exactly what he's going to be, but I think he's a good guy to go in and pick up and stash for a bit, see what he can do. The next one is Steele from the Carson Steele from the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's going to take over duties.
That's a long-haired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking to
that's a long-haired guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He the undrafted free agent. I think Kareem Hunt comes in and takes the workload.
But I think
in a couple weeks. So I think Kareem Hunt's another guy to look at.
I think but you can't expect Hunt to be there right now. I don't think he'll start this week.
No, not this week. I think probably 2 weeks. Yeah. So I think Steele for the next 2 weeks is going to be a decent guy to go look at, but I think they're going to throw the ball a lot.
Is Clyde still hurt? He's been hurt his whole career. So.
He's on PUP.
Okay, that's what it is.
So he can't play for 4 weeks. And then the last guy is Braylon Allen. We saw him. The Jets love using him in the passing game. I think he's a guy, even with Breece Hall, he could continue to put up some decent points. So yeah. I like those 3 guys if you're in a struggle to get a running back.
I think that's all for me.
You got anybody else, Renzo?
I think it's scarce.
No, a lot of the guys on the waivers are just like not even worth picking up, to be honest.
I think it's pretty scarce at this point. A lot of guys have jumped on what's left over.
I think you can find a couple guys at quarterback or wide receiver or even tight end right now.
Yeah,
but I think like running back, if you need to make a replacement, you're really looking to
I think
trade.
the biggest thing is running back. Because like quarterback, I mean, like you said.
The fall off between 10 and 20 is not great.
Tua got hurt, but who realistically was starting Tua? You know what I mean? I don't see that.
I think a good amount in 12 teams or super flex.
Yeah, I could see that.
You could definitely be playing Tua.
I think wide receiver, you have so many wide receivers, it's easier to have.
Yeah, but there's definitely some good wide receivers who, especially because so many random wide receivers get a touchdown here, deep ball there. So, wide receiver, there's some good guys out there that we said, and then it's really running back. I think that's where coming into the next part of the show. Guys to buy low after the first 2 weeks. That's where you can really exploit and try to fill in your needs for your running back holes from injuries.
Jeez, I'm looking at your roster right now. You have About 5 guys on IR.
Oh yeah, mine.
CMC, Brooks, Mostert. Yeah. Your team.
My other league, I have CMC and Nakua. So
To start off the buy low, I think a good running back to buy low on is Zach Charbonnet. I think he's going to be hard to buy low on, but I think you can manage it just because Kenneth Walker's back. I think you buy him now. I think you'll get some value out of him. I think Kenneth Walker's going to be plagued with the injury bug like he was last year. So I think if you can try and get him for a low price, I think you'll get some value out of him for that.
yeah, I went with I have a couple guys. I think Devin Singletary. Well, it might not be the lowest price. I don't think he'll get much lower than this. I think he'll be consistent 12 to 14, which in fantasy for a running back is very solid. I mean, you saw what he did with the Texans last year, so I like trying to target him a bit cheaper this year. He's looked good so far, been involved in both the rushing and the passing game, and they don't got much else on that offense. So I really like Devin Singletary to try to get if you're looking for some options.
Another running back could try and get B-Rob is another situation. Like
Yeah, B-Rob's another one. I was just looking, I'm like, is it even buy low at this point? Because he's averaging 15, 16 a game.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to go down. I really
I think
like
if you're going to pull
B-Rob.
the trigger, you got to do it now.
Yeah.
to get
But
him.
actually, I think Brian Robinson sucks. Renzo, you should trade him to me.
Yeah, I mean, all you guys are trying to take shots on B-Rob and like try and trade. I mean, you guys are offering me dirt, and
I
don't
offered
really,
you Brock
like,
Bowers,
want
bro.
that.
I did too. He has no tight end and doesn't want the guy who's got to probably finish number one
I'll
in
shoot
tight
you some
end.
over later. I'll get you a tight end. Don't worry.
Another guy where I don't think you can really buy low on him, but his price is probably the lowest it'll ever be, is Jonathan Taylor. Another guy I'm going to throw into that same like kind of bracket is Chris Olave and Brandon Ayuk. All guys who they're going to hold value because of their names, but I don't think you're ever going to be able to get them much cheaper. Right now, JT's averaging about 10 points per game. Olave's averaging 7.5, and Ayuk's averaging about 6.5. So these are all guys who are easily going to grow on their opportunities, and they're going to continue to put up more fantasy points each week. So I think these three are really guys to go out and get now if you can. Each of them very talented and have the opportunity to continue to get better. So I think those three are each guys you got to go get right now if you can. Yeah. Renzo, you got any more to throw in that pot?
What position are we talking about?
Any.
Anything?
I'll hit
wanna
one
bring
more.
up.
Okay.
Actually, no.
I'll hit one
Let me
more
think
when you
last.
think of it.
Yeah.
I think a guy to go, probably my favorite buy low target right now is Deontay Johnson. I think this is the only week to do it. I think once Andy Dalton's in, just because of his experience, he's going to be able to, and playing for the Cincinnati Bengals, who sucked for so many years, he's going to be able to come in and do better than Bryce Young did. I don't think Bryce Young, a lot of his issues really were his fault directly. Like, I don't think it's the end of his career. I think he could bounce back. But I think Deontay Johnson will be much better with a veteran quarterback in there, with Andy Dalton. So I kind of like Deontay Johnson to come in and be 5 to 7 catch, 60 to 80 yards, maybe a touchdown per game
I
guy.
think you could throw Thielen in there too, on the waiver right now. I think, like you said, he came out last year, was averaging like 20 to 25 points a game. He won me like
Thielen, yeah.
4 games in the beginning of the season just because of his production. I saw him on the waivers. I think he could be a nice little pickup with, like you said, a veteran quarterback coming in. Another guy I would buy low on is Keon Coleman. I think you could get something. So you could get him for cheap. I think he's a pretty good guy. I think he came off a week where he had 0 targets, 0
Yeah.
receptions. So maybe
I'll throw Kincaid on top of that too, because I think it's the same type of deal.
I think Keon Coleman's going to have to become the one there. I think he's going to put himself into that position. That last week was just they played a team where James Cook took over, and they didn't have to play offense the second
No, they
half.
didn't have to throw
So,
at all.
I think he could be a little buy low end type of guy and get some value out of him.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kincaid's that same exact discussion you were just talking about. I think he really is a great pass catcher, and he's had 2 underwhelming weeks, especially the first one. I think he was just the guy they're taking away. Last week he had 7 points through the first quarter and a half, and then they basically didn't throw the ball again. So I like both of them, especially Kincaid for tight ends if you can go get him low. Another tight end I had was Ferguson once he's healthy. So, because he's hurt right now, but if you're really struggling in the pit for a tight end, because there's not a lot of them, I think Ferguson will be a good guy to go get now when he's hurt.
Yeah.
It's going to be the cheapest value.
Renzo, you figured it out yet?
Yeah, I've been brewing some ideas over here. I mean, I hate the tight end position in fantasy football. It's really annoying to deal with. It's kind of like that thing you just kind of forget about that you forget you have to deal with. So, like, I'm trying to buy low on tight ends, if you couldn't tell. I like guys like Goddard's cool. I would say buy low on Brock Bowers, but he's not low. Like, he's just really good. So, why don't you just trade him?
Trade for him?
Nothing, but
Yeah.
that's a different story.
Oh, you want me to give you to him for nothing? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I'll give you Keon Coleman. You should buy low on him and give me Brock Bowers.
It's a good trade, Justice. You
No,
should do
thanks.
it. Nah, Renzo's team is already too good in that league.
I'll give you Kittle.
For
Dude, I
Keon
don't want any
Coleman.
Niner on my team besides Deebo Samuel. My one exception.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, they're because it's just with all these injuries, it's so hard. Like Garrett Wilson, I think you could almost you could say buy low, but like the lowest points he's had is 10. He just came off 14 from was that last night? Yeah, last night. So like you can make the argument that he's not gonna be doing well. If you're trying to trade with someone and you're like, yeah, he sucks. He's not gonna do anything. He's just gonna drop like 12 a week. Like low key, like 12 a week is kind of fire if you need like that flex position. I
for
think
a
that's
flex
cool.
or tight end?
Sorry, I kind of moved on to
Okay, I was
flex and
gonna say.
whatever
I mean,
else.
still 12 for a flex is a decent. It's
Yeah, but
Yeah,
if you're
exactly. That's what I
if it's
mean.
Garrett Wilson, then it's kind of underwhelming because you're
Oh,
probably
yeah.
gonna have to give up more than that to
Yeah,
get.
I
Garrett
mean,
Wilson.
I didn't. I had high hopes for Garrett this year. I was one of those people was like, wow, like he's actually gonna play like good football for once. And
I
like
think-
he still is, but like just not. I think we had too high of expectations for him.
Yeah,
I think Alan
which is
Lazard.
why
I
he's
think
just
I think the thing
underwhelming.
is once that Jets offense gets their feet under them, that they'll be able to. Garrett Wilson will be completely fine. You can still tell that Rodgers and him are getting that chemistry down, but
Yeah,
I think
Yeah,
Lazard
they'll be
would be a
dogs.
nice pickup if you want to pick him up. Try and buy low on him. He's had that connection.
I
with
wouldn't trade
Rodgers.
for Lazard though. Like if you can pick him up free agency,
But if
but
you could,
I don't think he's gonna be
if you
anything.
could give something
special.
like nothing, like important to yourself. You know what I mean? I just think it comes down to if you need that spot. If
Yeah.
there's no one else on the wire, I think he's gonna consistently put up at least 10 points a game.
Yeah,
And that's
he's
a nice little flex
yeah
spot.
with the chemistry he has with Rodgers. I mean, he couldn't even play the year before.
Yeah.
He was so bad, but I mean, all of a sudden he's back out there with Rodgers and making plays and getting open. So it's interesting to see. Last two guys I kind of had were Rashad White and Stevenson. If you need a running back, both guys White's a little banged up right now, but I think he'll be fine to play in the next coming weeks. And Stevenson just came off a sub 2-point performance, but the Patriots are
Oh
going
my
to pound
God.
the rock, and White's
That
going to
was
get a
so
lot of
annoying.
what?
So that was so annoying. I started in my other league. That was just abysmal.
Yeah, I
But I think they'll continue to run the ball, and Stevenson will get a lot of points. He'll be the main production force out of New England and probably the only one that's worth anything in fantasy. So I think Stevenson's a guy you might be able to get really cheap now because they're like, oh, 0.3 points, he screwed me over. So I like trying to go get Stevenson right now.
I wanna put my 2 cents in here. Lastly, you guys might actually laugh at me for this. I'm
Yeah.
totally okay with that. Dude, the kickers this year are going crazy.
No, you're not wrong.
I'm not trading
Like-
for a kicker.
No, obviously, like I would never trade like my starting wide receiver for a kicker. I would never trade for a kicker. Period. Actually, but they're going they kick the most field goals like ever in week 2
I
for
mean,
some reason.
we've
Do you
got-
think that shows
like-
something about like the NFL right now?
Yeah, like the offenses are just they're not passing. And as a result, they just like don't get first downs. They make it.
I
to
just don't
field
think
goal
they
range,
can
and then-
pass. Like they're bad at passing.
it's almost like they're getting paid to pass and catch the ball, but
Yeah,
like they just don't.
I see
So
that.
as a result, these kickers are going stupid. And like if you get someone, I like to look at the kickers who are not only like good, like are accurate, but the ones who are on like mid offenses.
Like the
So like they never
Steelers.
make it to the red
Yeah,
zone and they just kick the ball. So like I'm looking at Chris
Steelers,
Boswell. I wasn't kidding. Like Chris Boswell is a dog.
Aubrey.
Dustin Hopkins, Aubrey, like these guys
Young
are good.
Hoku.
And like
To kick
yeah.
he had a what? It was a PAT from like for a 53-yard PAT to win the game,
Oh yeah, I
which
saw
is
that.
absurd. Yeah, like you said, I just think it comes down to there's a lot of good defenses too.
Yeah,
The Bears stopping them to what would they have 4 field goals?
yeah, something.
I mean, I think that comes down to their defense. The Giants held their 6 field goals it was for
Yeah.
the Commanders.
I think I believe that it's they're dumbing down the game too much. Like these quarterbacks aren't as good as they used to be. Not as smart as they. Tom Brady said it in a clip.
Yeah,
He's like they're dumbing down the league too much, and as a result, you're getting worse production on the field, and it's kind of coming full into fruition. You're looking at some of these quarterbacks, and they're just awful. Like you always had these bad quarterbacks, but teams would try to balance it out with stronger run games, and you just see these teams that they don't got a running game or a throwing game, and as a result, their defense is making good plays, and then they just had to kick field goals from the position their defense got them in. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd trade for a kicker, but
I'd never trade for
I'd
one
think
either,
about
but-
like if you could get a kicker back in a deal, be like, oh yeah, let's just swap kickers too, and somehow get Boswell to like kind of sweeten the deal in your favor. I would do that. I don't see why
It
not.
just comes down to teams that can't get in the end zone. Like you said, the Steelers drive down the field, can't get in the end zone. The Commanders are another
It's finding
team.
that offense that isn't amazing, but they can't be horrible. They got to be that mid-range.
You
or
got
just
to
kinda
find a
crap.
team that
Exactly.
isn't a red zone offense. Because
Yeah.
there's always
That's
one
what
of
I've been
them.
looking at.
There's always one team that
And-
can't score in the red zone.
And they're dropping more than my tight end, so like I'm okay. With it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real conversation, and like the thing is, it's just kickers are so much more inconsistent that any kicker could put up 20 points in a week, where certain tight ends aren't gonna put up 20. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The inconsistency factor is really what drives it. Okay, I got one more question, mainly for Renzo, but it's just overall. Would you try to go out and trade for Mahomes or Dak right now? Do you think they're buy low candidates, or do you think they're just you never trade for a quarterback like that?
It depends who I have. If I have,
Your starters were
Hurts.
Tua and Jordan Love.
oh my God, at that point, one, sorry, you mentioned like
You heard his
the two worst
brain.
names.
You
'cause
heard his
they're
brain
just-
with the
Yeah,
comment.
like
You
I'm a
like
huge
Jordan Love.
fan.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm a huge Jordan Love fan. But when it comes down to fantasy, I'm a big believer in like just getting a good quarterback who will probably drop you like minimum 18 points a game. It's just such a crucial position. But when it comes down to trading for guys like Mahomes or Dak, Dak is like a good quarterback, minimal rushing upside. Mahomes is obviously a great quarterback, a little more rushing upside. If I have Jordan Love and Tua on my team, I'm probably selling my team. But I mean, obviously I'm dropping Tua. I would never have Tua on my team, but for the
I
sake
wouldn't
of this
either.
No,
But the
conversation,
sake,
I would
hey,
drop
I'm
Tua.
I'm more saying
Yeah.
like you don't have one of the bona fide top 10 guys.
I got hate
Yeah,
for it.
I mean, like if I don't
I'd
have
give
guys
you
like
anything.
Hurts, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, like, yeah, I guess I'd go get like Mahomes just because he's Mahomes. But like,
But do you think it's worth it? Like at
No,
this point,
So my thing is,
Mahomes somehow just isn't producing like he
I
used to.
said it last year.
But I think that's because teams are forcing him
I got
to.
bashed for it last year. Mahomes, regular season Mahomes is not playoff Mahomes. People don't get that.
No, I'm not saying that. Mahomes, I don't
think
think
he's
his
good.
play decreases. I just think his output does because teams are just so trying to box him in, and then he's taking dump offs. They're running the ball more, and they feed more to the end zone.
mean,
Like
I
the
s-
first year he's in fantasy, they're giving him all these like jet touch passes and all the
Yeah.
different stuff that
But
gave
he
him
also,
easy
that's when
touchdowns.
he had Tyreek Hill. So him in fantasy his first 2
Nah.
years was great. But the past 2 years, he's just like a consistent 10 to 15 points each game because it's like he wins games, but they rely on.
You don't get the big plays like you used to. Especially teams just play too high safety the whole game, and
they're a playoff team. They're great in the regular season, but they perform better in the playoffs.
yeah, I agree. The too high safety look. Did you see somebody said we should ban too high safeties? And I'm like, why? That's the only way to stop all these ridiculously fast guys who just run right over the top, and these quarterbacks who just throw it 80 yards. I don't know. You guys got any other players who you kind of think are guys to buy low on? I know there's a lot of guys, like, just going out and basically checking who kind of is underperforming and who you think has the best jump, I think are kind of interesting. But, yeah, there's plenty of value out there.
Guy. Sorry.
Let's hear it.
There's plenty of value out there. You just got to go find the value. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I mean, like, a guy who needs, like, a tight end, I won't mention names, but, like, Sam Laporta, low-key. Low-key looks good. But, because he dropped...
he's averaging, like, 5.
He's underperforming really, really bad this year.
Yeah, and I was very high on him this year. I was like,
you were.
Give me him Dynasty and whatever.
I think
because I love Porto, but
I think that team's good. I just don't. I think they're gonna underperform. I think they came in with expectations.
They had 2 good years, and you never see a team go on for 3 straight years just being consistently dominant.
The Lions fans are annoying because the last time they made the playoffs was what, 30 years ago, maybe something like that. It was an absurd amount of number, and now they think they're the best team in the league because they made the playoffs for the first time. And it's like, you got to find a.
Well, the Giants aren't making the playoffs anytime soon.
Oh yeah, we know that.
With a $40 million, I think they're gonna cut Daniel Dimes at the end of the year.
Yeah, they are. He has a 2-year opt out of his contract.
Yeah.
Or they stick with him for another year and they pick up another.
They
Manning.
won't.
Get another Manning in the play.
Arch.
Arch is gonna be sick.
Yeah, he does look good.
I wouldn't even cut Daniel Jones. I just tell him not to show up to practice anymore. I'd just be like,
that's cutting him, bro.
That's cutting him.
No, but I wouldn't even like officially do it. Like I wouldn't even be like, you're off the team. Like I'd just be like, just don't show up.
So you keep paying him.
Like, they should do that with Slay.
Yeah, like it doesn't even matter at this point. Like we already screwed up.
We'll tank the loss.
Like everybody knows it. Yeah, like just go home. Like just
don't show your face.
Yeah,
don't come
honestly,
near me.
I was a Daniel Jones. I had faith in him until his first game, and I lost it all. I gave him the benefit of,
just insert the Rowley meme.
Yeah, I gave him the benefit of the doubt just because last year he got injured, coming off an injury. So, but he played pretty well against the Commanders, but I just
Dable doesn't really look like he's put in the same offense that he did that first year.
No, and I don't think he needs to play call. I think they need to find a real offensive coordinator and get someone to make those.
The last guy I'll say is Terry McLaurin. Go get him now while you still can.
Yeah, he's
gonna get traded to a team that actually loves and appreciates him as much as I do, and he's gonna go crazy.
We were so high on him. Me and you.
I still really like him.
We were so high. We were getting him late, so we can't complain. But
I still really like him. Yeah. It's not the talent that's the issue, which always is the part that screws me over because I believe in the talent of so many guys. And then it's constantly just they're not targeting him. They're not manufacturing plays for him.
Well, and Sam Howell
it confuses me.
Sam Howell would just sling the ball. And that's what Terry would go up and get it. And
Terry didn't even do good with Sam Howell. They all these other teams, you see these other great wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, they manufacture touches for them. If they're not getting as many as they should, they throw them screens, they do dump offs. And Terry doesn't get that same thing where I think Terry is that good. Yeah. But I'll take that loss on me. But there's still a long season ahead. I think if you could go get him really cheap right now, it'd probably be worth it.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Any last words?
Yeah, I like Terry. He's good at football.
Okay. Thanks, friends. Okay. Thank you for listening to 98.5 WNUWLP Aston. This is Champ Talk. Check us out on any social media platform. Basically, we're going to get some more content up. And we'll see you next week.
See you.